Let's prepare for the next lecture. Thank you all for a good photograph. Yeah, Gilbert, Enoch photographer. To, we want to go to the next phase of our program. No, just feed them finish. Everybody but all right, that song ends our song service, and we want to commence fully. Right now, we want to take another lecture, and Pastor, this is more like a workshop because it's going to be very practical. Practical, I'm sure you have your laptops here, you have your phones, you have your tabs, you have your iPad. We are going to be very practical. Every of our section, we try as much as possible to be very practical so that we are not telling you what is not obtainable in your church, what is not seen in the streets. We are telling you things that we see every day. Even now, we're going to see it. He's going to show us. All right, please welcome with me the former director of the Eastern Nigeria Union Conference in charge of communication ministries, the man that bettered some of the ideas that we are enjoying today. And he's currently the associate director, the associate secretary of the union, and also doubles as the evangelism director of the Port Harcourt West Mission. Make welcome Pastor Chigozie A.T. to come and present a lecture titled Adventist Branding. Adventist Branding and Identity. This lecture will take for 1 hour. Please, a round of applause for him. You're not clapping, you're not clapping. All the wahala we have in the church, this is part of them. And we're going to solve them today. God bless you.
Yes. Okay, it's on. Okay. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath, brothers and sisters. Okay, so we've done this before. Are you giving me a pointer? Okay. So we've done this before, but there are some small adjustments. Okay. Can you reach here? You want to put it to my own? You want to put it on my own? My own is VGA. My own is VGA. And I didn't bring my adapter. It has passed now. straight. No, the update, no. So I can use the point. I can use the arrows.
No, but this one gives you
It's in the flash. Okay, so when we talk about, okay, can we pay attention now? Did I greet? Happy Sabbath. Okay, so I know that the new communication directors have been welcomed, and we have a few veterans. And I'm happy to see Elder Kamba, Pastor Daniel. These are the few veterans that we still have around. Elder Ekpo has moved on to. Okay. And then, so we thank God for this opportunity. Let me quickly apologize for not being here yesterday. I was sharing with Elder Ekpo the struggles I've had. Some of you have seen the way I am operating like an old man. I'm not that old. But I'm praying that this will go away quickly so that I can bounce back to my usual self. So keep me in your prayers. Okay. So the first thing I like to say about branding is that this church takes its brand identity very seriously. It does what? It takes its brand identity very seriously. That is why the church has written a dedicated website to describe our brand identity. Now, as I'm going to show shortly, some of the things we are doing in the local church, in the conference, and the mission, show that we have not taken that brand identity as seriously as the church has requested or required for it to be taken. Now, what is branding? Okay, so if you can see that definition, please read it with me. Let's go. Brand is a name, term, design, symbol, or any other feature that identifies a product, service, or idea as distinct from another. If there is one thing you will agree with me, is that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is distinct from others. Is it? Is it? You know, one of our world leaders, I think the last meeting we had at Babcock last weekend, Pastor Kola, Ayrton Kola, Executive Secretary, he said, the church, we are not saying we are better than others. We are saying we are different. Are we different? Are we different? Yes, we are. We are different. And we want to project our difference in, and I think we are doing a good job of this. Yesterday, I was in the office of the registrar of River State University. And one of the assistant registrars saw the T-shirt I was wearing. Those who have been following our program, we've had this market evangelism for the past 2 weeks. We ended yesterday. He saw the T-shirt I was wearing, saw the Adventist logo, and said, oh, Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I was happy. I was happy that a non-Adventist could see that logo and immediately linked it to what? To the Adventist Church. I was happy. I said, we are getting somewhere at this. Of course, he had seen our letter-headed paper and the letter we wrote to them, and he was able to connect the logo, the letter he saw, with the T-shirt I was wearing. So, it's very important. How do we differentiate? We use colors, text, images, patterns, and layouts to differentiate. Okay, now, I don't know if we can watch this video. We didn't prepare for the sound, so I'm going to skip it. Can you?
Sometimes make a scene fragmented. How can we present ourselves?
So let me start it again.
How can we use typefaces, colors, patterns, images, and layouts to let The Seventh-day Adventist Church is a global community of faith, and we stand together under a common message. However, our diversity in language, culture, and personal expression can sometimes make us seem fragmented. How can we present ourselves in unity as Seventh-day Adventists? How can we use typefaces, colors, patterns, images, and layouts to let people know that they are looking at Adventist materials even before they see our logo? Most importantly, how can we create a system that is flexible enough to accommodate our diversity? The church symbol has been in use since 1997, and it is the most recognizable element of our existing visual identity system. It effectively encapsulates some of our most important concepts, so it remains a core component of the identity. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is a global community of faith, and we stand together under a common message. However, our diversity in language, culture, and personal expression can sometimes make us seem fragmented. How can we present ourselves in unity as Seventh-day Adventists?
Is it possible to pause the video?
Colors, patterns, images, and layouts to let people know that they are looking at Adventist materials even before they see our logo. Most importantly, how can we create a system?
Leave it. Okay. Okay. It has paused.
Yeah. Not there, just from here. Just stop the front there.
That is flexible enough to accommodate our diversity. The church symbol has been in use since 1997, and it is the most recognizable element of our existing visual identity.
Okay, so let me pause and highlight a few things. Did you see what we have there? So you see, they are creating is it a 3D model, they call it, in architecture, right? They are creating a 3D model in order to show the structure, what they are trying to project by the logo. Now, some people have screenshot this thing, and they are using it as the Adventist logo with the globe showing like this. That's not it. This is just a 3D model which they created in order to explain this logo. So don't use this logo like this to do any design. They just did this to illustrate the development and the idea that they are trying to. Yes, and the constitution, the content. For instance, that cross too. Some people have manipulated the cross and turned it upside down and said it is a Illuminati cross. And they are saying, doing all kinds of things. And they are so invested in it, trying to use it to prove that Ted Wilson is a Jesuit and he's promoting a Rome agenda in the General Conference. So it's very important that when we come to the other area of image making for the church, it's very important, forceful enough in drowning some of these voices that are distracting us. There are people who feel that it's their spiritual gift to correct this church. Yes. They'll correct Ed Wilson, correct in fact, everybody in the General Conference have been compromised. Everybody in the union, everybody in their local conference, everybody is a Jesuit. Everybody is collecting salary from Rome. Only them are the ones who understand the issues in the great controversy. So we need to be watchful and mindful of things like that.
Effectively encapsulates some of our most important concepts, so it remains a core component of the identity system. The symbol usually comes accompanied by text, the name of a local church or organization. Because of our global nature, it is also important to make sure that the design of our church logo works well across hundreds of different languages. To accommodate for this, we created a multi-language type system using ADVENTIST, an open source font design.
So, we went to the extent of creating our own font. What's it called? Advent Sans. Advent Sans. So when you see all these things that we throw in, which I'm going to show, you see that it is not, and as I'm going to show also, sometimes using just the Advent Sans can appear monotonous. But the alternatives should not be far from, for instance, there is this Novo Sans, Justice, Noto Sans, very beautiful, Noto Sans, very beautiful and very close to Advent Sans. If you're going to shift typeface, let it be, typeface is a font like Times Roman or this. Our own is Advent Sans, and that's it. Okay.
Specifically for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, this sleek universal font accompanied by a flat, single-tone symbols provide a modern, cohesive visual identity for our church. Colors hold cultural meanings. We want to celebrate that. While in the past, specific colors were recommended for global use, now in this new variable color system, the logo can be adapted to match or complement other layout elements.
Okay, so let me pause here again. Did you see the old logo? The color. What are the colors? Yellow and green. But the designers, being the professionals they are, saw that you can't put yellow and green on every background. So they created opportunity for the logo color to be adapted. Are you getting that now? For it to be adapted to various backgrounds. So they created these solid colors, as you can see, so that you can adapt them to various colors and platforms and backgrounds.
It always remains a single solid color. Aside from ensuring that the symbol continues to appear on materials, the new system allows for a wide level of flexibility. The symbol is now free to exist in isolation, detached from the name of the church or entity. When not using the Adventist symbol within the Sabbath column or locked up with an entity name, the preferred version is the knocked-out circular version, which allows for a more graphically pleasing layout. In addition to creating a universally cohesive logo system for our church, we are introducing the Creation Grid. The Creation Grid is a reference both to the prophetic timeline as well as the creation week that culminated in the seventh-day Sabbath. This is a 7-column layout structure to be used in the majority of design projects. It intends to communicate our conviction that every
Okay, so let me pause on Creation Grid. So you see that for most of the designs you've seen lately, you will see that column that has the Adventist symbol or the Adventist logo, right? Now, I've seen many designs. Some people will just carry one bar, like a bar chart, and just paste it somewhere. The thing is supposed to be 1/7. Are you getting that? It's supposed to be 1/7. You're supposed to have 7 equal columns. And as you can see here, it's not as if you're going to draw 7 lines. Are you getting it? But in the layout, divide it into 7. Dedicate 1. That 1 is called the Sabbath column. And what does it represent? 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. You can see that the designers of this thing were very deliberate in projecting our teaching, even in our design, our design projects. Okay, so take note.
Is a celebration of our hope in the renewal of keep in mind is contrast. The Sabbath column can be filled with just about any background element. A full bleed image, a texture, pattern, illustration, bold colors, a gradient, or even white space, as long as it is beautiful and it fills the entire column. Aside from full background elements, the seventh column should never include identifying marks or text.
Did you hear that? The Sabbath column should not include identifying marks or text or color or anything. Let it, whatever you assign it, if you want to assign it color, if you want to leave it plain, if you want to assign it gradient, if you want to assign it pattern, let it cover the entire column and nothing else. The only thing you are allowed to put on that Sabbath column is what? Is the logo, is the Adventist symbol, which can appear up or down. Okay.
Any kind, with the exception of the Adventist symbol. From billboards and print campaigns to books and pamphlets or even digital application, this new system of design will encourage individual creativity while keeping a cohesive look and prevent visual fragmentation of our identity. The ultimate goal of this visual identity guideline system is to help people know we are all Seventh-day Adventists. We are all different, but all excited about the beauty that is soon to come.
Amen. Okay, so what are the advantages of having a good bride identity? Number one is respect. People will respect you. When your design is good, when you maintain an identifiable pattern and structure, people will respect you. Okay? You have a huge global identity. I want you to imagine for a moment, if you see during 10 days of prayer, the same flyers we are showing here, the same flyers they are showing in Ghana, isn't it? The same flyers they are showing in China, the same flyers they are showing in India, the same flyers they are showing in Kenya. Now, what does that say? What does that say? Unity. If somebody flies from here to there, they're seeing the same thing. Say, they are one family. It gives you energy. It gives energy to your communication. Is that clear? Okay. Now, so, huge global identity. And it tells us that our church is a big organization and that it's not just that local entity, that local entity is part of a worldwide global family. And that gives us some confidence. Okay? Loyalty and trust. Okay? When you make a good design, young people would like to wear the t-shirt, isn't it? They would like to wear the face cap. They would like to, they would like to roll with it. Okay? So loyalty and trust. You have a well-defined brand identity projects a long-term feel to those who see it regularly. That's by Deborah Murphy. Okay. Now, I'm going to be showing some of the designs that go against everything we have talked about here now, everything we have seen so far. Okay? You can see this design. There's a lot we can say about it, but let's move. Now, how about this? How about this? So let that be that. As people see your design, there is something we say. You say, this one are roadside, right? Have you heard that? You see a particular design, you just say, this one are roadside. So between this and this, you know which one came from roadside. Okay. Now, some of the principles that inform this and that, for which we say this one is roadside, and we're not saying that the preacher there is roadside. Are you getting it now? And it is a bad representation of a powerful preacher for us to design him like this and be flying the thing everywhere. And those who don't know will be feeling important. Okay, of course, this one came from our World Church. How about this? Cool? Cool. How about this? So something I'm going to point out quickly. Let me point it out here because I may forget it. Now we have two pictures to show, to illustrate this program. In order not to make these pictures conflict and drag space, what did we do? What did we do? We boxed them. We boxed them. We boxed these pictures, because we wanted to create an alternative to this one. Because there are some people who say, don't put the preacher's picture to make the preacher proud. have you heard that? I don't argue with them. I'll just go back and design something else. There are too many options for us to start arguing over whether to have the picture of Jesus on the flyer or have the picture of the preacher. It doesn't matter, So we needed to illustrate this woman and the alabaster box, so we created two boxes and just put it there. Okay, how about this? So you see another principle used here, which I'm going to share shortly, talking about geometric balance. Okay? So a good design will enhance brand recall. Okay? How about this? Cool or uncool? Eh? Geometric balance is okay or not okay? It's okay. Okay, how about this? So if your brand does not look serious, why should people pay attention? If your brand does not look serious, people will just say, what is this? There's nothing attracting you to it. Okay? Okay. So let me say this quickly. Of course, you know the origin of this Jesus picture. Eh? If you must use Jesus picture at all, please avoid things like this. Because this Sacred Heart thing is from Catholic idolatry. And we must avoid. Okay, this is a recent program or program that's still on. But so I'm going to be showing some of the negotiations I was having with my graphics artists that birthed something. So I looked at this. It doesn't look very bad, but I thought that the background on the Hope for Today made it look a bit noisy. Did you hear what I said? It looked a bit noisy. So we now went here. How about this? It looks more relaxed. It looks more relaxed and more appealing. Yes, it looks busy because of the amount of information. Because of the amount of information we had to share. Now you see that there is a repetition, so look at this now. Okay. Now, you will also find that just removing this thing, because it's already represented in the logo, just removing this thing will do a lot to reduce that sense of busyness. Just removing that word impact, because it's repeated. It's already there in the logo, so we needn't have repeated it. So just removing that could do a lot to create white space. By the way, let me say this. White space is part of the design. White space. I think it was Gulda. The last time I checked, a page of Guardian newspapers was about 600,000. That was before Tinubu economy. 600,000 naira. 820. Thank you, sir. 820,000 naira. Gulda bought that entire page, paid 820,000 naira or the equivalent of that at the time for that page. And you know what they put on it? A beer like Gulda does not need advertising. And they put it very small. They wrote the text small in the middle. You peep to see it. A beer like Gouda does not need advertising. And then they put the bottle. They use the bottle of beer, of the bottle of the Gouda, to sign it somewhere at the bottom. And every other thing on that page was what? White. White. Clear space. Nothing. Now, do you think anybody that buys that newspaper will read that page? Eh? Eh? They will. They will. In fact, the emptiness is creating curiosity. The emptiness is, so what are they trying to say? A beer like Gouda does not need advertising. Yes. 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 Okay.
I don't know if you heard me.
Yes, I did.
So that because when I tell people to make titles, I say try not to exceed 5 words.
Yes.
So that one guides your creativity. So when you now have, you want to write a full essay on top of the listing, maybe you can come up with something like a guide.
Yes.
So that from inception.
Okay. Okay, so towards the end of my presentation, there are some recommendations. Yes. Okay, so let's look at abuses in Adventist branding. Of course, we have already shown some things like this. So there's something. There is something we must never do. Did you see quality assurance? So I'll read assure here and come to the next deck to read the ans. If we use those icons, what should we do? We'll do thumbs down. Okay. Okay. Now, you've seen this one. Okay, so let me say something quickly. Sometimes we are so department. What do they call it? Departmental. For want of the right word now, departmental activism. Because it's youth ministry that is doing this program, we must have youth ministry logo on it. I want you to know that the non-Adventist out there does not know youth ministry logo. Are you getting it? They don't know youth ministry logo. They don't know adventurer logo. I don't know if we'll see it here. You will see some designs like this. Evangelism. We're going out for youth ministries evangelism. And then we have adventurers logo. We have a Pathfinders logo. We have SYL logo. We have what is the non-Adventist doing with all of that? Do you know how they interpret those things? Do you know how they interpret those things? These are the different classes in their cult group. The different ranks that they have in that their sect. These are the different symbols. Because it doesn't make sense to them. It makes sense to us, and it doesn't make sense to them. So when we are designing, we should design with the non-Adventists in mind. We should design with the non-Adventists in mind. Sometimes I argue with church leaders and departmental leaders over putting logo. I say, leave it out. If we have the Adventist logo and maybe have the I Will Go logo because of the corporate drive, because it's the symbol that drives all of us to mission, is enough. Instead of having all of these things and cluttering the whole space. Okay? So we were told not to put any other thing on the Sabbath column except the logo. And you can see how the logo appears there. That one is not the Adventist logo. It's something else. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to make a point. I was going to make a point here, but I'll leave that point because I'm going to make it using the flyer we made for this program. Okay? These are some of the things that our members did. Some of us have seen these pictures. Okay. So no matter how small a church is, I used to pastor this church, and I can tell you this has changed. It's no longer there. Yes. No matter how small a church is, we should not represent our church like this. See, it's better for you to go and do a banner. Are you hearing me? It's better for you to go and do a banner. A 4x5 banner, a 6x4 banner, even a 3x2 banner that is fine, well designed, and we hoist it, than to put something like this. You know, so please, we are communication directors of the missions and the conferences. Let us go back. If there is any church that still has something like this, let us go and remove it. It's better for the church not to have. See, let me tell you something. There is something I'm going to say in the next presentation. They say it is the purpose of the evangelism and personal ministries department to project Christ and the gospel, isn't it? It is the purpose of the communication department and ministry to project the good name and the good image of the church. Are you hearing me now? And we need to project a good image for the church, for the world to want to hear the good gospel that the church wants to preach. Do you see how important the work is? So if this is your church, do you people eat at all? Does God bless you? Does God answer prayer in this place? No, that's the question I will be asking. Are you getting it? If I were a non-Adventist, that's the question I'll be asking. Okay? So I've talked about the Adventist symbol and how we must not represent it. Please don't use something like this. You know, because this is not the symbol. This is a graphics illustration of the development of the symbol and not the thing itself. Okay, we can take our time. So let's look at some principles of effective design. But before that, identity.adventist.org is a website for our brand identity. It's there. If you print out all the content you have there, it's more than 100 pages. The church has invested so much. So you can go there and study it. You can go there and study it, and you'll do good designs. Now, director was talking about practicals. See, I don't know how to draw a line on CorelDRAW, as I am. I don't know how to draw a line on CorelDRAW, and I don't think it's one of the things I want to learn anyway, because, I mean, it's time-consuming and, you know. But I know what I want from a graphics artist. Justice is here. He knows all the arguments we have, you know, before we bring out, you know, and fight. Yes. You know, we'll fight until we have something that speaks, you know, that speaks to the program and speaks to our brand identity. Okay. So you need to, you are the manager, you need to know what it is. You need to know how it should look, and you should be able to advise your graphics artist on what to do. So keep the design and narration what? Simple. Keep design and narration simple. And that brings us to what Brazil was talking about. You don't need a whole essay on a flyer. Are you getting it now? You don't need a whole essay on a flyer. Now look at this flyer. Work-life balance seminars present parenting children with special needs, autism, daytime venue, powered by the finish. Okay? A revival. If I am a non-Adventist and you tell me, hey, I'm coming to evangelize you, what are you asking me to do? You're asking me to put up my defenses. Hey, I'm coming to evangelize you. I'm coming to evangelize you. That's what we communicate when we say 2 weeks evangelism. 2 weeks word impact evangelism. Power-packed evangelism. When you do evangelism, what do? You win souls. They know it in the redeemed. They know it. But if you say you're doing a revival, you want to encourage everybody in their walk with Jesus, isn't it? That's it. You know, is a more And I'm not saying that is the best language you can use. But please don't tell them you're coming to evangelize them. Don't tell them you're coming to evangelize them. The second thing is, we just said Victorious Hope Revival with Pastor Chigozin 80. That has removed, because if you gain the space to remove one word, it means a lot in a design. Ministering, guest speaker, all of that. So you have replaced all of that with what? With. Okay. And then daytime venue and who is sponsoring the program is done. Okay? So keep the narration simple. Keep the design. Here we are using the centralized form. And you can see everything is in the middle there. Audacity of Faith with Pastor Chigo's deity, daytime venue. So you can be truly blessed. We just use a final statement. A final marketing statement. So you can be truly blessed. You don't need to say more. You can be mightily blessed. You featuring prayers. Huh? You don't have to put featuring power pack prayers, the songs, this, and all of that. No, you don't need all of that. So you will be blessed. Okay? Use typeface professionally. We've talked about the Advent signs and the other alternatives to Advent signs. Now, if you look at this design, are you still with me? If you look at this design, we have used at least 3 typefaces that you will not notice. Why? Because they are similar. Because they are similar. They're similar. Okay? Okay? We've seen this before. Okay? Eh? Auntie said, is it our church? Singles are important. Okay, so you see, you have a singles program like this. You can have those, I'm going to attend flyers. Those I'm going to attend flyers, where each person who is endorsing the program can confirm flyers. Just put one person. You don't have to put all of them in the design, and and then we'll bring here. So you see, sometimes we want to put the topics and the theme song and everything. So what I do with those ones is that I use the back. I use the back so that the front can remain appealing. So if you want all of this extra information, you can go to the back and put it there. It will cost you a little extra to print front and back, but it's better for your marketing and your advertising. Okay, so don't forget Advent signs. Okay, so let's talk about geometric balance. That's the third principle. What's the first principle? Keep narration and design simple. What's the second one? Use typeface professionally. Okay. The third one is observe geometric balance. So we have done something with this center, but we have more information. How can we put more information without appearing conflicting? So you see, and if you notice, you will see that you don't have elements in this design competing for attention. Are you getting it? You don't have elements competing. There is one central message, and we have announced the central message in a big way, with big text. But every other thing, is additional information. How do they appear? In smaller typefaces. Smaller typefaces. Okay? Okay? The same thing is happening here. Nothing contesting. Nothing struggling for attention. because it's that struggle for attention, you know. Okay? I talked about boxing images. Now here, we needed to feature the several speakers that we have for this program. What did we do? Just create that almanac, you know. We just created that almanac idea. Sorry? Is it? So it's busy, but we have been able to manage the busyness. Okay. So I'll be glad. I'll be glad to see a better way. Okay. Now, something else would have caused busyness here. So you see, we're trying to promote HIV Sabbath. You know your status. That's the central message. There is a picture at the background. Are you noticing that? So if we allow the picture as, is it strong vector or something they call it? Vector image. If we allow it to come out, you know, full, it will drown the text. It will drown the text. It will conflict with the text. But we want people to see the text. So what did we do? We filmed the image. We'll film the image. We'll, you know, put it in the background so that the text will show. Okay? So let's go to color contrast. Color contrast is very important. And the first thing I want you to learn about color contrast is that most professional designs actually use one color. One color. This is from GT Bank. Every other thing is a shade of the major color. Are you getting that now? Okay. Something else from GT Bank. This one is from First Bank. Okay. So you see, these are professionally done things. Arik Air came out a little bit busy here, you know, but yeah, but in their management of color, they were able to represent their colors well. Okay, how many colors do we have here? One. It's one color. It's one color. This is a darker shade of the red. This is red. Black and white are not colors. They are neutral. Neutral. Okay, how many colors do you have here? One. How many colors here? One. One. The forest green and the lemon green. Just to create, you know, that bounce. You know, to bounce the text. Okay? So it's very important. Okay? Contrast. Okay? So this is a program that we just finished in my 3 market, and we actually did this t-shirt so that we can use it again for something else. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So let me talk about another principle that I added. For those who have gone through this presentation before, this is a new, one small idea that I added. So I'm talking about good order, ordering, and it's related to the first one, keeping the design and narration what? Simple. Okay? So order. So let me mention this now. So you have 1 day fasting and prayer conference. Are you getting it? It's the same body of information. In writing, we do paragraphing, isn't it? In advert copywriting, you also have that form of paragraphing, even though you don't have a full paragraph. But there are information that are related. You cannot separate them. 2-week revival. You cannot put 2 weeks there and go and put revival elsewhere. It's 2-week revival program. It should appear together. So it's a 1 day fasting and prayer conference. You know, your eyes will go here to read the same sentence. No, it doesn't speak very well. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, if you look at the creation grid, you will see that that is not 1/7. This is like 1/9 or 1/10. Because that column is not 1/7 of the entire this thing. Okay. Then something else. The speakers. Why should I read your text and then I'll do like this? Do you know that's what you're creating? That's what you're creating. You have to do like this to read the name of the preacher, the name of the minister, or to find the theme for the program. This is a very powerful example of roadside. And let me tell you, we don't big past this one. We don't big past this one. My apologies to Rivers East. Yes, sir. They are not starting. No, they are not starting. In fact, that's why I'm very hard on them. Because I have done this presentation in Rivers East. You know, and they have also participated here. You know, if they were one of the new directors, I would have, but I have to be hard on you, sir. Okay, then again, the presenters, you don't have to separate them. Okay, we have something here. It's always good to have the speakers and presenters, you know. Are they supposed to be what? Yes, sir. Yes.
In our church, do we have hierarchy in the way we represent them? If you go to the previous one now, if you notice Pastor Udo is above. About this encounter with the pastor that the president should be above.
The big man should be bigger.
It should drop like that. So is it a law?
You see, if you insist on doing that, you see, it is not the size of Pastor Udo's picture on the flyer that will define the size of his office. True. It's not the size or that is not the way to show that you have respect for him. In fact, I think that there may be something sycophantic about that even. You know, you need to maintain the design. So it is not in flyer that I will show that, oh, I love Pastor Udo so much, I have respect for his office. No, it's not by that. It's not by that. You know, so maintain this thing. In this other design, I am the district pastor. I'm supposed to be the big man in the district. You know, but we all have our images together. Now, when we are dealing with people in government, for instance, there are some rules in those ones. Like we had one design sometime that we had to feature Governor Ikbazo's picture. And when we showed the sample to his office, they said the governor's picture must appear, must appear first. But it doesn't have to appear bigger. So for institutions that have those kinds of rules, you can observe them, but it doesn't have to be big. Yes, sir. You are raising your hand, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Okay.
that when you make a flyer,
Yes.
the purpose of the flyer is to invite the non-Adventist.
Yes.
And within our church, we do not really have a face. You are coming from my trade market. In my trade market, men did not know you.
Yes.
So these pictures that you have here, so far as me I'm concerned, are not functional.
I agree.
They are not functional. So it's just something you did to just do it. But if you had the face of a Kumuyi, in our first 5 years in office, we wanted to make a face, an Adventist face, that anywhere you take it to, just project this face, they will recognize this face as somebody coming from a particular church. I'm just saying because of what he's saying.
Yeah.
So if you decide not to add a picture for something that is going out, please do not let your conscience not bother you.
So in addition to that, because again we are now planning that we want to project our church more in my 3 market, we have also decided that we need to project these faces. Okay? So, well, at least let them manage the face for those 2 years. You know, so like now, if I know that if I walk into my 3 market now, that anonymity that I had before has disappeared. It's gone. You know. No. I'll probably still be paying. Only that I'll be going less to buy that fish. I'll have to send someone and just rely on however they buy it. You know. Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, so if you watched the video, you will see that there are 2 ways of expressing the logo. You can either put the logo on the creation grid, in which case you will not have this circle around it. You will notice that everywhere you found the logo without the creation grid, it came in the circular form. And that rule is clearly defined in the website and in the video we watched. So if you want to learn about the use of the logo in the circular form and the creation grid, just consult the website. But notice that everywhere you find this logo, outside of the creation grid, there was that circle around it. It's still to give it that halo, that sacredness. Okay, now, what I want to say, my observation, I saw another hand. Yes, sir.
It's coming from the knowledge and the background you have that it doesn't really matter for the speakers. You're doing a design and the president will tell you, no, you have to make mine bigger and the secretary smaller. Or you have to make Odo's own bigger than mine, and still insisting, And for the creative guy knows that, sometimes you can do these things, but you don't have a balance in your design. And he doesn't see from your end that also what you're passing out, first thing that will be asked, who handles this? Sometimes, but you having to have your way, you still have to push this thing. How do we really manage this thing to communicate across to that?
Okay. So sometimes when you are working with leaders who insist on these things, it can be challenging like that. But the way I have taken it is to continue to educate. I think it's in the Carnegie How to Influence People. You influence people who are in the hierarchy up. You influence those who are subordinate to you. You influence those who are on the same level as you. It's just cause for wisdom. It's to continue to, and besides branding and design, in the other areas of the communication ministry, I think that communication department in the union, for instance, has grown to the level where we can tell Pastor Odo, no, this thing should be like this, and he will agree. Because, we have built that trust with him, and he knows that you cannot misadvise him, and that we are coming from the position of knowledge and experience. Of course, it also shows the mature leader that he is, and not every leader can present like that. But it's just to continue to show this leader that you always have his best interests and the best interests of the administration at heart, as you grow, trust will be, trust will improve, and they will listen to you. Yes, ma'am. They will listen to you. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Okay, in terms of managing space,
Yes.
we have like 3 guest speakers coming from different conferences,
Yes.
probably presidents,
Yes.
and they have titles. I was saying guest speaker, Pastor Nkonu, executive president of Port Harcourt. You have to state all that, and if he has some form of qualification, PhD, master, you have to state all. Is it necessary to do that?
Okay.
Because I saw the other picture had the one that had the arrow stated the titles, and this other one,
This one?
we just have Pastor Eti.
Yes.
So which one is
Okay.
preferred?
So you notice that here, I didn't put district pastor, this is, because just like Brazil said, it doesn't matter to the market woman. Eh. So just find a way to put it.
Okay, please, let me make a policy statement here, and you can quote me. You see that I'm standing. As much as possible, let's not indulge hero worshiping. Jesus, the book of Matthew told the story that some people will pray along the street, and because they do their thing, they get their blessings here on earth. But that somebody would enter behind and pray quietly, and God will answer him in secret. The position of a pastor is a very important position. If the devil is able to bring a pastor down, that fallen pastor will take down so many people with him. So let us try as much as possible not to do things that will lead them towards the path of pride as much as possible. Since I started writing and putting Pastor Odo's name, I have never put doctor, I've never put professor. It's always Pastor Basi Odo. And in everything that you're putting, if somebody wants to get loud, say this is what you were told. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple as it can be.
And I need to speak in his favor now.
I don't think.
No, I just needed to state that. No pastor that I know today, whether the president or his associates, will be angry when you don't add all those rose petal names and titles.
No, you cannot say that.
I'm talking about in my own territory. In my territory. Example is already on the screen. The Global Missions Director's picture and name is there, and he is the pastor of the biggest church in our mission.
Pastor
But his name is just there. No title, no position, and all that.
Okay.
So please.
Okay, thank you. Now, the other thing I'd like us to take note of, you see, when you have a design like this, and you have Enuc, you can see that in terms of font size, are you still with me? In terms of font size, this Enuc is bigger than every other thing. What it communicates is that in terms of the body of information you have here, because you see, you highlight what is important. You highlight what is important. So in this body of information, is it Enuc? Is it Enuc that is the message that we want to communicate? Eh? Yes. Or for me, it's even that revive, empower, fulfill. Because it communicates the benefit. That team communicates the benefit. So if I were supervising this design, I will put the emphasis on revive, empower, unity. an Enoc Communication Summit will now come as a rider under, small. Are you getting the point now? Uh-huh. Now, this one is different because the Word Impact 2025 is the program. And of course, this is an in-house program. And we needed to project the Word Impact 2025. This was a formal launch of Word Impact 2025. If we are running a Word Impact evangelism, this Word Impact 2025 will not be the thing that we'll announce. What we will announce will be the Freedom in Christ Jesus, a Word Impact revival series, or something like that. Let the benefit, be louder than, this thing. Okay, I hope that point is clear. Okay. Where do I start from? Here. Yes.
Please, I want to know, in design.
Yes.
I've always been informed by someone that we have Adventist color.
Yes.
That in design, is it that in design we should just make use of Adventist color? I don't know color, because I can see that all the sample you have been showing,
yes,
we have multiple colors of choice.
Okay.
Is it that we should stick to just Adventist color, or we can make use of other colors?
Okay. So I cannot stay here now and tell you that this is Adventist color. You will find that much of what you see here reflects my own preferences. Any design that I supervise, you see that a little bit of my personality coming into the picture. However, there are colors that, as you look at them, you know whether this material is for nursery school or is for mature people. Are you getting it? There are those primary colors that when you see them, you say, it's for children's end of year party. Are you getting it? For instance, you just have yellow. Just have yellow screaming from everywhere. How will you explain that? But if you have green, blue, turquoise blue, which is my favorite color, as you can see, reflected. When you have colors like that, you have red. Red. These are mature colors. When you have pink. If you have purple and you can mix it deep purple, it can fly. Especially if it's a women's program, But the point is, we need to use colors that communicate seriousness, because the business that we are projecting is a serious business. Yes, ma'am. Let's start with you, and then we'll do. I've been given only 10 minutes, and I think it's remaining 7 now from those 10.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Is on this the Enuc Leadership Summit.
Yes.
I don't understand the picture behind with a covered face. And again, the revive, empower, fulfilled. It's like its color also encroach into the face and also covered it. So what's the message, please?
Okay. So maybe somebody in the team should respond.
The face is not covered. He's wearing a VR, a virtual reality glasses.
Okay.
So that's
so you see, communication now has gone digital, and around the conversation on digital communication is this virtual reality idea, and those glasses. That thing is like Google. Eh? Okay. So the people wear it, play games inside, they do all kinds of things inside there. They are seeing more than you are seeing. So it's just to project the fact that we are aware of of the new trends in communication, and we're ready to apply. The last communication summit we had, I think the theme was embracing our digital future. Embracing our digital future. I think that's where the idea, came from. Yes, sir.
One of my challenges with some of these designs, if the picture in the background, whether watermarked or boldly inserted, does not speak to the theme of that program. Personally, I have a challenge with that. For instance, one of them that, like this one now, actually fits into perhaps the background of what they want to do. But one of the pictures you projected here, a picture of someone who is praying, but the theme of that program, please run back. Dry bones, the picture on dry bones. No, you've passed it. I saw a picture of dry bones, but somebody who is praying. No. Go back. Go back. Okay.
It's towards the beginning.
Yes. That's it. So for me,
yeah,
I struggle with relating the theme, dry bones shall rise again, and the man who is praying.
Okay.
Is it that you want to communicate that is a prayer program, or you want to communicate the theme? Okay.
So it's a prayer program.
Okay.
It's a prayer program.
So many times you see flyers run like that. The picture sometimes does not even relate with anything at all. Just
and then,
just inserted
picture. And then it's a special day of prayer for Nigeria. And you can see the projection of the map of Nigeria. And we are saying that, of course, anybody who is conversant with the story of this nation will understand the correlation of Nigeria with the idea of dry bones. Yes. Yes, sir? That should be the last one, so I can round off.
I designed a church signboard for somebody, and I used blue. And the person said no, that it is green. But I know it is not only green. But then I want to ask, what's your take on me using a shade of turquoise, a shade of burgundy for a church signboard? Okay, something that looks, okay, color, the color of this. Yes, something like this red, or I think that one is brown. The seat, okay, the chair you're sitting on, that shade of red. Pastor, that's my question. Considering the fact that we are having almost green everywhere.
Okay, so maybe it's just because of what we have become used to. But having red on signboard, I will struggle with that. I will struggle with that. I will struggle with brown on our signboard. I will struggle with that. Because again, let's look at what we are doing across board. If you look at from the general conference, you will not see red signboard, except it's just a program. Like we have that Jew sit out, maybe communion service, maybe a program that talks, communion service, a program that talks about the blood, all of that. But for something that stays permanent, you will see that there is a convention of that shade of blue, green, bluish green, which is the turquoise blue. That's what we've been playing with, sky blue, deep blue like that. And I think that it's safe to stay with that because red will project Olumba Obu. Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to make an appeal.
Okay.
This one is just an appeal that when you go to a place and you see the Adventist logo, that is because you have it in your memory. There's a way it just catches your attention. I also get that effect when I see the signpost design, this common signpost design. You just, even if I'm driving, and because I have a picture of that design in my mind already, I can be on speed, and as you look out, that's an SDA signpost. Let us not try to reinvent the wheel. As the one that we have now, this green one has become very popular. At least for the next 10 years, let's maintain it. Let's maintain it so that it becomes another brand thing around here.
Okay. So, madam, you can see from GT Bank, because they are talking about GT Bank Tech Academy. You can see how they projected that VR, thing again. No, it's part of that machine. It's part of the Google, the glass. The person is wearing it on his face. So that's how they designed those glasses. Okay? So winding down now. Good order is very important. Okay? Yes, please.
From the introductory aspect of this lesson or lecture, you made a very bold statement. I've been very intentional to keep quiet, to see if you will emphasize on it. You said this logo,
yes,
one.
Yes.
You refer to it as old logo.
Yes.
Okay. And you ended at that. So I was expecting that you would throw more light on it.
Okay, so I'm not
Why do I say this?
I'm not trying to say that we cannot use the green and gold. I'm not saying that the green and gold has been thrown away. No. I'm saying that the church has made provision for us to use solid colors on different backgrounds in order to create color balance. Yes.
So what you mean is that we can still be going with this logo?
You can. If it matches the background on which you're putting it.
Okay. We have seen in some occasions they say the church don't use this logo again.
No, I haven't said that.
I'm not saying you. I said in some.
Anybody that's saying anything should provide
evidence.
Should provide the basis. Should provide authority.
Pastor, I think so that will be clarified. I think the challenge here is the one color system that aligns with the logo. So maybe that's where the confusion is coming from. For example,
can you show that?
Let's have a feel.
Show the book again.
Yeah. So this is the pamphlet.
Did they write the name of the church under? Okay. So that's another problem.
So that's it.
And if you check that Sabbath column, you will see that it is not 1/7. It's not 1/7 of that this thing. The point is that the people who are doing this thing for us, they know they hear something. On the church, but they know they hear something. See, let me tell you, this Adventist branding thing, I find it easier to work with, and this does not include justice, please. Let's not misunderstand this. I find it easier to work with non-Adventist graphics designers on this our branding thing than our Adventist brothers. They are so stubborn, and you give them something, they will do roadside and give you, and you tell them what to do, they tell you it's not like that, So let's not use this study guide as example of anything. It is. It is. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And this one is not telling good of this church.
Mm.
And we cannot see this kind of thing and keep quiet.
Okay.
Can't we make a statement from this summit that
For subsequent editions, they should let communication department do some vetting and provide some guidance.
I think that the director will take note of that. It's part of the community we raise. Director will work towards that one. Yes, he's coming today. We will tell him. We'll ask him to explain why he will continue to deviate. But
let me tell you, that we have done that resolution before in this hall.
That's correct.
Written it down and communicated it.
We need to communicate to the person that is printing this thing formally, because Pastor Otto is not the problem here. The problem is from the Sabbath School department, from the office of Pastor Smart. We need to be intentional to reach out to him to tell him that when next this is printed, we need to have a feel of it before it's printed in hard copies. I think that will help us.
Okay.
Pastor, please, I want to react to Dr. Kapi's question.
Okay.
If you watched the video well, it spoke specifically on one solid color, which means there's something like gradient, but you don't use it on our logo. Don't use gradient. It has to be one solid color. So we are not using this thing again. We have outgrown this multicolor logo. It has to be just one solid. Let's underline that word, solid.
Okay. He is a professional designer, so we'll listen to him. Yes. Eh? Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, if you look at this, you see some of the the discussions that I had with my graphics artist. So when I received this design, I looked at the blue, looked at black, looked at green, and it didn't look balanced to me. Of course, all of those things, you notice what I said before. Because they are different pictures, in order to stay safe, you box them. You can see that principle applied across board. Even here, you see that because we want a visual representation. Are you following now? We want a visual representation of this program, of different aspects of this program. But in order not to have the pictures competing with each other and clashing for space, we box them and make them individual units of their own, okay? While still operating together in the same frame. So that's the same principle that is done here. But I thought that this blue was a little bit off from there. So I sent him back. I want you to watch this. I sent it back and see what he did. Does it look more relaxed? That's it. So these are the discussions that we have as we do design. He just took that gradient that he did with the blue, with the free help, and turned it into the green, and it sort of just balanced the view, of that design. Okay. Okay. So we wanted, if you notice the first one, okay, the first ones that he sent to me, the phone lines didn't come out like that. But we wanted to encourage feedback. We wanted to encourage feedback. So that's why we expanded the phone lines. because this was our what do you call it now, groundbreaking in the market before we went out to go and preach. So we wanted the market people to see these flyers, to see the banners, and actually call. You know, you can see, to book a seat, please call. It's part of the things that we were taught recently under digital evangelism, you know, to encourage feedback. Because it's as the people call you that you now establish contact with them, and you're able to, you know. So finally, please, picture, photography is very important. Good photography is important. Some of our pastors are still taking pictures like this and putting yeah. The program that is going on with a PCM. Yes. Pastor Elemsi's picture looks like something that he used his hand to take like this. You know, we shouldn't do that for a program of that, or for any program at all. You know, for any program at all. So let's do good programs. So you will see the other expressions of our brand identity. This is the billboard we did in Transamadi. Okay, the Enuc on. Okay, so recommendations: make a personal commitment to upgrade and align with the global identity. Identify and engage the service of a design artist and orientate them to the Adventist branding system. A conference should engage a design artist, and I know many of our conferences have done that. Some of the local churches have not aligned. Let us encourage our local churches. Let us present to our pastors during a workers' meeting that they should talk to the conference communication director if they want to do a revival. Because this church does not belong to one person. And each individual shouldn't sit where they are doing what they like. Let us work together to make sure that we project a good image for our church. The Lord will bless us as we do that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please a round of applause for our pastor. All right, do we have any more concern? Question. You know, part of what we're doing is to make the class very interactive. We add question time inside the lecture. So that as the lecturer is teaching, you can pause for some time and allow for questions. That's what we've been doing. Makes it more better. Instead of waiting from now till the end of the lecture, so you can ask. Because obviously, there are some knowledge, if you don't ask that time, it cuts off. So let's hear from you. 1, how many? 2, that's all. Thank you. Okay, so let's send microphone down there.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Please, Pastor, I want to ask. There's this concern I always ask questions about. Sometimes when we go for funeral service, we see the church logo pasted on burial poster. And some other programs, like a burial program, they paste it there, mostly poster. And And finally, they flex the banner for the person where is going to be the location. You will also see Adventist poster pasted on somebody who is late, and a burial poster and the banner. So, what are we actually saying on that issue? Because to me, I don't know. It's like it's not good to me.
Should I take that one?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So this matter has come up a number of times. I decided that I wasn't going to just give my own opinion on it. I've spoken with Pastor Odo on this, and what we concluded is that the burial is our church program. Are you getting it? Burial is our church program, and we must treat it as such. So it's okay to have the Adventist identity reflected on the funeral program. But we should do it correctly. We should do it correctly. We should do it respecting all the things that we have discussed here. So as they design the burial program, of course the pastor is involved. They should reach out to the communication director of the mission of the conference or anybody who is empowered to do so, to vet these things in the mission, so that we don't just have the thing happening anyhow. So I know the concern. Sometimes you just find the logo. Sometimes they will put the logo of the church on the forehead of the late person. Is that the seal of God that they promised? So let us not make it something that people will begin to question the rationale, and begin to put ideas. They say, these people, they are doing their burial the same way that Amok, Rosicrucian people do their own. They put a special mark on their dead person. So let us not create that kind of atmosphere. Let us create a situation where this is a normal church program, just that it's a funeral. Yes.
Thank you. So, Matt.
All right. Those of us who are privileged to worship in this church.
By the way, let me just add this. Remember that one of the things I have found is that one of the biggest evangelistic opportunities we have is at funerals. It's a big evangelistic opportunity. There is a church today in Bayelsa. That church was planted in that village because some people went from Port Harcourt to bury a church member in a village that didn't have an Adventist church. Just that this member of that village got converted in Port Harcourt, died. We carried the person to the village to go and bury. Relatives came from another village to that burial, collected tracts during the funeral, went back, read the tracts on the Sabbath, and started keeping the Sabbath. Bayelsa Mission didn't even know until after 2 years. They were already worshiping. When somebody ran into them and, and then they now sent missionaries there to go do Bible study and plant, properly organize the church. So funerals are a big evangelistic opportunity. We should take it seriously. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Those of us, a lot of us matured here who worshipped in this church in the late 80s and the 90s, we understand that our Sabbath school quarterlies came directly from the General Conference. I think then we didn't have the Advent Press and all that here. And now we are having this. Then it was brown paper. The paper of our study guides were brown in color or light cream color.
They also came as white.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, right? Now, the quality in terms of, I don't think I read my own study guide again. I now use the electronic copy to study because they've all gone off. And like we said, critiquing this, it's a complete misrepresentation of the church. Is there no way we could go back to the designs of old when those things came directly from the General Conference? And if the text comes from the General Conference, that is, the text written in it are from the General Conference, why are we not adopting the design of the General Conference? Because I know that the General Conference design would be much more better and it would be a complete representation of the church. Thank you.
Okay. So I've said what we will do, and that's just where we'll stop. If we bring this book from General Conference, even if it's $5, if you convert it, yes, the book comes from, the manuscript comes from the GC. Again, that's what I said. Some of our people who work for us here know they hear something. Because they will bring it, they will even see the samples from the GC, they will design their own. They'll design their own. But we need to pay closer attention to what they are doing so that we can, help, and guide the church as we should. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is a training and at the same time a meeting. Is there any person here, any conference here, whose directors do not have the capacity to present this particular lecture to your workers' meeting? Because our intention is that during the March workers' meeting, that we would ask for space every conference. We can push that space from the center, but we need to know that you're able to present it. Is there any person here who doesn't have the capacity? Let him speak now or forever remain silent. Okay, so what we're saying is that we can all do this, right? Okay, so let us we'll be provided with this slide. Let us go back and prepare. We will do our best to give you the opportunity to go to the pastors and make this presentation. Maybe we would work with Pastor Eti to increase the recommendations. Now, we will try to let's try to create a WhatsApp group for, for graphic designers across the union. For graphic designers, so that at least, let's at least when somebody at Northern Cross River wants to make a flyer, there's a place you should be able to go to. So we'll try to do that one also, and we'll make. I don't know how to do it, but we'll find a way.
You're right, sir. We have done designs here for some of our churches in Lagos. Yes.
So that we can do it. Then if you have graphic designers within your fields, see how we can launch them. We can actually repeat this training online. So between now and December of this year, we'll see how we can do for graphic designers, even if we're doing it every quarter, so that from every conference we can have a couple of people who, let me not say certified, who have been trained, and some of these points that he has opened our eyes to now, at least they will see it. 1 second. Then we have issues when it comes to personal events, when it comes to weddings, when it's not the church that's planning it, so to say. It's wedding, it's funeral. Let us encourage our pastors. It's part of the recommendation that I would make. Let us encourage our pastors and our elders. As you go to visit the bereaved family, in course of talking, say, CEO, when it is time to make this flyer, let me know. Because at the time when the man is planning that thing, he's not thinking of graphic design is the last of his problems. It's the last of his problems. So if you do not help him with that support at that time, he would go to a area market, give somebody who would just do it anyhow. Okay.
Who will start with call to glory.
Then the next one is we'll see how we can also work with our big departments, Adventist Youth Society, AMO, these giants, this thing, to see at the level of the union and at the level of the mission, them to be aware. That is the extent that we can go. So make this available and push for your conferences to give you space to talk to pastors. Now, if you've spoken to pastors on your own, see whether you can push to talk to elders. See what you can do to just make this presentation go viral. Thank you.
All right. I wanted to add something.
We are working with time, please. We are working with time because. Okay. What about? Okay, Matt. Okay. Matt, you can just meet us later. Okay. So we want to thank you all for your cooperation. We are duly informed that the kitchen will be ready in the next 45 minutes. Okay, so we want to take another lecture from Pastor Alvin, who is also in a haste to go back. The lecture was supposed to come after the lunch break, but let him come and deliver it because it's part of what we are doing now, making the church beautiful. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Pastor Alvin again to do justice to this one. Now, this is going to be very interactive, and our participation is desired. This is about your church. If you have 123 churches, like I do have in my feed, start thinking about how to make them beautiful.
Yes.
God bless you. Pastor.
Yes, I've sent it to them.
Good afternoon once again and happy Sabbath. Before I joined the ministry, one of my most important interests in life is, though you can see me from the outside as, okay, he can't really have anything. Maybe he doesn't know anything. He doesn't have anything. But when you get to my house, you should be able to wow yourself by what you see. You know, okay, the point I was making earlier is, I love a picture where people underestimate you from outside. They just look at you, they conclude immediately. They just tell themselves, oh, this one, no, you place him there. But when they follow you down to the house, are we together? When they follow, and then they head deacon. I get to some churches and I see that it's as if the deacons were the ones who painted the church. So you see stains on the ceiling, even though it is this is a PVC ceiling. So for me, you get me offended from the beginning. I have been posted to a church and then they came to receive me. Oh, okay, Pastor, welcome, and all that. And there was need for renovation. So it got to painting and they asked me, Pastor, what color do you like? And I asked them, do you have a painter? They said, yes, this one that XYZ person packed out from, that they were the ones that painted it. I said, the kids will not paint my church, my personage. That is because if it is not a professional, it can never be like a professional. I love colors in my apartment. I believe that I can walk better from a space that resonates my mind, the things in my head. But this is from a personal point of personal life. In our churches, do we need beauty as a form of attraction for worship? Do we need beauty? Okay. So should communication department be involved in the design of the house, of the church building? Huh? Should they? So this is one of the reasons why we have this forum to discuss. If communicators are seen as image makers, it therefore means that they should be involved in the planning. Okay, I'll give a practical example because it's not harmful. We did some of you may have seen on our website, Port Harcourt West Mission, the building plan. How many of us have for Port Harcourt, the secretariat? After doing it, when OK saw it, he asked us, where is the studio? And I wanted to be defensive. I was doing hand like this. He said, okay, we need to have a mini studio. He asked another question like that, and it was not there. So, if he was incorporated, do you think he would have mentioned that? If communication department is the image maker of the church, should they be involved in the structural arrangement and beautification of the church? And my answer to that question is yes. So the question I will be looking at in the next couple of minutes, so that we can provide at least answers to, is how can we make our church or our churches beautiful? How can we make our churches beautiful. I'll begin with number one. Before that, number one, please understand that I underscore the fact that the beauty, just as the Bible, Peter says, is not just about the outward beauty. Huh? But I'm looking for words now so that I don't run myself into trouble. But for some of us here who are married, whether male or female, you know that beauty was a core for your choices. True or false? True or false? Physical appearance first attracts you to a man or a woman first before you now begin to talk about character. Who agrees with me? Okay. Thank you. See, sometimes we look at the inside first, which we may never have access to. Do you understand? But we present first what we may never have access to. And then we struggle with what we may never have access to. And then lose out. So for me, as a person, I want my woman to be XYZ. Long leg, straight neck, you know, sometimes fair, sometimes chocolate. You know, I need it to set. So it is that point of attraction first that brings me closer to the woman that will now make me see, character no jail. I'll draw the beauty. Are we together? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Then when I get close, because first thing has attracted me, I will now begin to, okay, the character is okay. Which one can I manage? And which one can I not manage? So beauty can never be relegated to number one, number two, or number three. It has to be considered as one of the preliminaries. Before you begin to know or to evaluate the capacity of a car engine, it would have appealed to your mind, this car is beautiful, before you now begin to check capacity. So how do we make our church to be beautiful? Begins with us not just looking at the character, which is very important, but we begin with making it in such a way that people can never pass without turning their neck. They turn their neck and they see, where if I go to carry my president or go to visit my president, there was a building. I wanted to show it to someone. If you go through, if you go through that Minolu, that market, and you want to come out here so that you go to that road that you have to go through to get to location, there's a bump just by that road between Minolu and the sharp bend. The building there was dilapidated. There's a church there with is it popular pink flex banner with a lady hand folded like this, excited and all that. That building was dilapidated. I saw that building just as at March last year. So they started removing some part of that the outside of the church, of that compound, and then repainted it, screeded the wall, and then folded the roof in such a way that you can't see the rusted zinc. They put some, I don't know what they call it, like barricading, and then painted it and inscribed the name, the logo of their church, and then put some pipes and flags to show that they are also international and all that. Every Sunday as you pass there, you see young ladies and young men as if they are serving in a hotel, well dressed in suits, and then they will be there carrying placards, welcome home, and they will be dancing to the tunes and all that. For me, coming from the marketing point of view, that is them making their church beautiful and attractive first before you get inside. And there is no Sunday you pass there that the windows are not completely sealed, meaning that the inside is AC fitted. do we therefore make our church or our churches beautiful? Number one, enhance the interior design. Enhancement of the interior design. Before Pastor Ojewole came back from the United States to Babcock, Pastor Eti will remember, what we have today as the pulpit of Pioneer Church was not like that. How many of us know what I'm talking about? It wasn't like that. But I got to know later that he studied estate management or real estate or something. So for me, I was able to connect what he studied on his background and then what happened there. So he just came, changed some parts, changed the pulpit. The pews are the same. The paint was still maintained. But there was something different from the pulpit and the wall. They just built it there and put it on this other side. So that way, when you on the projector, it projects there as if it is a TV screen. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. As I attended the one-day prayer retreat of Port Harcourt East Conference, and we got in there and saw the 3D temple, and saw the 3D screen that they brought on the both sides of the altar, and how they used chain to draw up the sound and all of that. It appealed to my attraction. So, for us to make our churches beautiful, we need to be involved. It doesn't even, most times, by what I have seen on TikTok and YouTube, it doesn't even take much finance. It just has to do with incorporating people who know what to do, and then one or two persons can actually provide even the white cement and all that to do something that is beautiful. In my run, I met fabric pulpit decoration, because as at the time that decoration was there, that was what was raining. Are we together? But when I came, the world has moved to wallpaper, and to this point that I'm making now, the baluster kind of designs and all that, and then lightning. But we struggled. It was not, it did not cost the church 1 naira to put the wallpaper that you see there today. Just a member bought the wallpaper and brought installers who came to install it. How did it happen? Just talking with people. I don't like this. I personally pulled down the curtains. Another, so as we finished it, another person said, no, why not, since there is a new look now on the pulpit, why not retouch the paint and all that? So, enhancing the interior design is very important. And part of enhancement of designs or interior design has to do with painting. By the way, I want to ask, I have pastors here, many of whom started the ministry before me, and elders who have read the church policy. Which one is Adventist color? Not from the digital design now. Which one is Adventist building? So that when you see that building, by the color of the paint, you know that this one is Adventist building. What's the color? What's the color? There is no color. No color. We've had to talk about repainting the church building. They will not tell me, oh, Rumokuta building. The color there is gray. The one they put another place. Even the union, they will now quote, even some of them may not have even come to the union. They will now quote the color. So, the color that is Adventist color does not exist anywhere. So find colors, use colors that are appealing to beautify both the interior and the exterior designs of our buildings. You get to some churches, the colors, I'm still talking about enhancement of interior design. You get to some churches, you will discover that the church was painted last 10, 15 years ago when the church was dedicated. So what do you think the color of the paint will now be?
In fact, you are doing a great disservice to the church building if you don't repaint the church building at least once in 2 years. Who agrees with me? All right. Repainting of the building is one of the ways to maintain the structure. Based on availability of funds. But it can be budgeted for. You know, it can be budgeted for. So don't let, if you want your church to be beautiful and to be appealing, don't let the color of the paint to be outdated before you repaint. In fact, there are pastors that have shared testimonies of getting to the church, and then once they got there, they struggled with few members, got sponsorship, and then repainted the place, and it became a point of acceptance and promotion for that pastor. Because the people will now be shouting, oh, for the past XYZ years, we've never repainted this building. This one that came. In fact, people will be passing and say, we never knew that this church even liked beautiful things. So making your church beautiful, begin with interior design. Artwork. Artwork. I had already mentioned about artwork using balusters for the interior design. Like if this was a church, with the part that is gray, the section that is gray on this wall now, can we get baluster on the same region and then put welcoming stickers on it just to provide additional beautification? So use artwork. The third point under enhancement of interior design is the aspect of lighting. Many of our churches, very massive, but the lighting quality is poor. Where you have an elder to read, I've been to churches where you call an elder to read, to do Bible reading. The elder comes with additional torchlight. And this happens even during our evangelisms. And the evangelism one is more annoying. It is public campaign, and then the people who did the physical arrangement will now go and pin one bamboo close to the pulpit and put 60 watts light bulb and then on it there. So the man who is coming to read the Bible will now supply additional light in order to see it. So enhancement of the lightning aspect of the church is very important. It does not cost even much to put our eyes on lightning in our church. Lightning has a lot to do even in video production. In video production, I know of friends, some of whom are seated here now, who will never watch your video because they were not comfortable with the lighting of that video. Are we together? So the same thing applies. When you get to a church and the lighting is not appealing, you can see how the POP of this place is. In fact, the annoying part is that even in this modern dispensation, when people are building, they don't factor in some of these things at the earlier stage. They finish it like that and they want to come back after 2, 3, 5 years to come and begin to break 1 or 2 places to install something that that should have been taken care of at the beginning of that place, of that building. Number 2 thing to do that you need to encourage your church to do as communicators is to consider the landscaping. I was just asking Azu to remind me of an experience. It happened that either last 2 years, he went for a program in a church, and because of negligence maybe from the church, or they didn't really see it as being necessary, they left that in, and that thing punctured his, he mistakenly climbed that thing, and it punctured his radiator. And then the car screamed and screamed and screamed. People in the church came out, and I want to ask him, putting him on the spot, would you like to go back to that church today? So, when the environment of the church is well landscaped, and people know that they can actually come in and park very well, and park comfortably and confidently, it has a way of adding colors. So, as part of the landscaping, and I'm telling you this thing practical, I'll tell you from a local point of view to an international point of view. before I became a pastor, a cousin of mine wanted to do a show. He's into hip-hop song. He wanted to do a show in December. His friends, they've been doing shows and all that, in Omoma to be precise. And he complained about so many things. And I told him, so what do you want? He told me. I said, okay, we can get your stage to even beat their own, even though they got decorators. He said, how? I said, okay, get the man who is living in your house to go and fell the palm tree in your land. And they did. Then we cut the palm trees according to measurement to use it to provide solid platform. Since we cannot hire the 300,000 per day thing. So it took us about 10,000 as at then. They felled the tree and then cut it in longs, and we used it, about 6 or 9 of them, and then put scaffolds on top, very strong. And we got a carpenter to do the place where the backdrop will be. And then we got paint buckets, fill it with sand, went to the bush, uprooted small palm trees, you know, and then used them as flowers. And those his colleagues, those his friends who came, didn't believe. We just went to one of our cousins' house, carried all the rocks in the house, came and used it and spread there, and it was beautiful. Recently, the ward executives came to assess Eastern Nigeria Union Conference for possible reorganization. And a member hosted them at a presidential hotel. Though the food was somehow good, what caught my attention in their flower, it now looks international. You will not believe that the flowers, it now looks international. You will not believe that the flowers inside the flower pot in Presidential Hotel in Port Harcourt is Upo. So, as part of our landscape, though we may not go to begin to plant Upo on the walkway, can we have buckets so that we don't go and create boundary where the boundary is not? Are we together? So, can you be creative of getting the live Upo thing put there? Even palm trees are flowers overseas. They just nurture it there and be putting pure water, pouring water on it every morning and evening. And it is there, growing, and it is changed periodically. Those days I used to enjoy, as we are resuming back from home during after vacation in Babcock, as you're coming back, you see different variety of flowers at the walkway as you're driving into Babcock. You see red, you see purple, you see pink. Mrs. Makinde knew then how to blend these colors together in terms of flowers and all that. So that way, you have a landscape that is beautiful, walkway that is inviting and all that. Then welcoming entryways is part of it. But one of them that was amplified during the different Port Harcourt conference communication program is the welcoming attitude of our church members. And I will illustrate something here. Somebody that I know just recently in this January traveled to Portugal. He relocated to the place. And then there's this brother who turned to be a friend there, the friend who turned to be a brother there, who is not an Adventist. So this our Adventist brother arrived and insisted in identifying with his church, our church. So he went round and round and round. People directed him to the church, and he got there. He told me last week, Saturday, I was in Babcock when he shared this experience. He said the pastor took time to come out, and then when he came out, he stood inside with the burglary locked. Yes, he introduced himself as a brother from Nigeria. Okay, I just arrived Portugal, and I'm going to be staying for a while, and all that. After all this, he said, oh, well, welcome. How are you? When did you arrive? And that was where it ended. That was where it ended. So this brother now took this, my friend, to his own church. And guess what happened? The scenario is different. They welcomed him. Designated people to help him look for a house where he will live and all that. So this thing happens almost on daily basis in our churches, where a new member or a visitor just come in. Nobody notices his or her presence until the church is over, and he lives like that. So that church will not be inviting to anyone. So creating a welcoming atmosphere for our churches is very important. How about furniture and decoration? I've spoken about decoration, what we can do to enhance our decoration. But I need to talk about furniture. In some of our churches, you get to the church and you sit down, the seats are making noise. Have you noticed it? Let us rise up as we pray, or let us kneel down as we pray. The person kneels and you'll be hearing pee, 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 pee. You know, for people who do not like noise to work or to connect or to have a divine encounter in church, do you think that kind of thing will allow them to worship that day? So the part of the work of the communication director should include to ensure that every furniture in the church is working and is not making noise. Again, we have seen in Port Harcourt, in some churches name withheld, as you drive around, even in Omahia and some other places, you will notice that churches are now doing safety trainings for those who intend to be oil workers. How many of you have noticed that? Safety trainings. So that way, they are bringing non-members, and it is free. So, can communication department or ministry take a list or generate a list of professionals in different professions in our church who can do professional training, in-house training, or preparatory training for even, in fact, there are some churches that even do visa mock for their church members. And when they are coming, they come with non-Adventists, and those non-Adventists are always great, non-members of their churches, and they are grateful, and they make investment because they have contributed to their success. So we can encourage that in our churches to make it beautiful. Again, integration of technology. This one now is one of the critical aspects of our church, that though we are somehow integrating it, but the quality of, the number of what I see on the social media is very alarming, and it gets me concerned. Some churches go there, and then because of not well dressed, the people who are officiating in choir have some mannerisms or some behaviors that is not good to be projected on the social media. And incidentally, they still project it. Now, let me give one example. I will not mention the name of the church. When you go on Facebook now to check that church up, you see that on Wednesday, they got to church and they snapped empty pews and said the worship today was beautiful. Are we together? So those who snap, do not put attention on where you find people. They just come and snap like that, showing people emptiness in our church. Now, when you show people emptiness in our church, do you want them to come the next day since the church is empty? I don't even understand what I'm trying to communicate here. So instead of you, all in the name of maintaining or incorporating technology into worship and all that, you now go and be snapping or videoing, or even people who are sleeping in church, or somebody who is chewing gum in church, someone who is scratching her, a lady who is scratching her chin, and the nails are painted and all that. They are all part of it, making the church beautiful and attractive. This one now is very important to me, this point. Create a worship atmosphere. Creating a worship atmosphere. If you invite a church member to your church a non-member to your church in a particular Sabbath, in your own rating, do you think by what happened in your church that day, do you think that member will come back again? That non-member will come back again? From the singing to those officiating. You know, one of the problems we have in this aspect is that there is need to train people. And then sometimes we run into the danger of training them on the pulpit at once. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about here. We just bring them there to make the mistakes and fail. So sometimes there is no training ground before then to prepare them. So you just see that the church, the superintendent just come and do anything that he wants. The person that he has appointed to pray just come and do whatever he or she wants and all that. So I think that we can create a worship atmosphere in our church by paying particular attention to the kind of music and the kind of messages that come from our pulpit. Not necessarily singing to wait for the next program to come. Are we together? Not necessarily singing to hold brief for the next person to come, but intentionally incorporating worship in song. If it is people who are leading it, sing it the word you go to the kind of message that should come there, the word you go to the kind of message that should come there. We should not play with them. We should not play with such things. That way, we'll be creating a worship